that this is going to be a historic night of Raw on Netflix, and The Rock is one of my favorites. Hulk Hogan is one of my favorites. They're both going to be on here. Plus, we got Roman Reigns and CM Punk, two of the better wrestlers from today. So, yeah, I'll be doing this watch along and reading your comments, and I'll keep you posted on how it all, what my opinion is of all of it. It's getting started now. By the way, I didn't like the Ric Flair 30 for 30 documentary on Netflix. There hasn't been that much I've enjoyed of the new content on Netflix as far as like the history of Raws. I was never really a Raw fan. I was more of a Saturday Night Main Event pay-per-view and Superstars fan and a WCW fan. HEF Media is not watching unless Hands of Stone Ronnie Garvin is wrestling. I don't think Ronnie Garvin ever appeared on a Raw, to my knowledge. He was out of WWE by the time that started. I saw Ronnie Garvin once at a house show. They had him be a ring announcer. This is the Intuit Dome that they're showing right now in Inglewood, California, Los Angeles area. Very nice arena. I've been watching all day the setup of this. Definitely they're pulling out all the stops. Good evening, Ivan. Victor, thank you about the Vince Russo. Coming up tomorrow, Tank Abbott and Ken Patera at the same time. Tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. They're showing CM Punk and Seth Rollins entering the building now. Supposedly, this is going to be 3 hours and 20 minutes long. Liv Morgan coming in with Dominic Mysterio and Carlito, who I've famously wrestled. Just because they moved to Netflix, it will be the same. Well, the first episode, they're going to be pulling out all the stops. 100%. And I think all the way to WrestleMania, they're going to do as good as they can. The one thing, though, is, and I heard even Dave Meltzer, I believe, bring this up. It was either Dave Meltzer or Brian Alvarez. For the new people that are tuning in to still make it 3.5 hours, that's a lot to watch for people that aren't necessarily fans of the current product. The setup is definitely cool. I see that they're not doing the Titantron for this too, which I think the Titantron look is so passe. The Undertaker is introducing this. I hear the Undertaker has a massive contract. They definitely have a cool setup here with the video thing in the middle covering the ring. But it just goes to show you, like WrestleMania 1, you didn't need all the hoopla because the wrestlers were so good. They're definitely going to have some good wrestlers on tonight, but in general, like the big show business side of it overtakes the less than great wrestling side of it. What is everyone most looking forward to about this tonight? The big Titantron took out. I mean, it was useful when they had to hide more than half the arena. But I mean, at some point, they've been using the Titantron for like 30 years almost. It gets old and it becomes a bit of an eyesore. WWE on Netflix Fever is going to lose steam in the long run. Well, if they do 3 hours of Raw every Monday, that's a lot to take in. It's a lot. Let's hope they have Hogan do something good. Apparently, they're involved with his beer company now. Michael is not going to give up on AEW. I just hate that they refuse to change anything about AEW despite all the fans tuning out. They're stuck in their way of doing things and they will not change. They'll just keep going down the same road with everybody tuning out. I mean, the one thing I wish that I would like to see in wrestling is just to jump into the action because I have a short attention span. This opening now is 6 minutes long and I'm bored. I am bored. I'm going to stick it out the whole show with you guys, but at this point, I'm already bored. I mean, the graphics are good, but I want to see some action. Apparently, they're saying Dave Meltzer was reporting that Goldberg may have his last match on a Raw, the upcoming Raw in Atlanta. And again, it's Triple H in the ring, putting himself over. He is an egomaniac, for better or worse. Everyone in wrestling is, but of course, he is going to make himself the center of attention on the show. If this is an uninterrupted thing, I'm going to be pissed. I want to see somebody come out and beat him up. You see, if I was booking this, I would hit the Steve Austin music and have him come out and give Triple H a stunner right now. I don't want to. It's already been 7 minutes of them putting themselves over. Seven minutes in and no action. Did I say I was going to make it through the 3 hours, 20 minutes without drugs or alcohol? I'm joking, but I mean, maybe I need some of that Hulk Hogan beer right now because I'm getting bored. Again, let's have somebody come out and do a move to him. Or is it just going to be him standing around putting everyone over? Okay, we're 8 minutes in and there's nothing that's happened. That's what I mean. They go 3 hours and 20 minutes, but now we're like 8 minutes in and we're not seeing any action. Why not make it shorter with more action? That's just my taste. Say what you want about WWE superstars. It started off and you jumped right into the matches. The arena is cool looking, I'll say that. Here comes The Rock, right? You see, I would have had The Rock come out and interrupt Triple H's promo. But they just went with like a flat promo from Triple H. I do like the setup without the large Titantron and with the audience closer without the ramp. I think the ramp is passe. Having the audience closer on the aisle, I like that too. Yeah, I liked it too because we're almost 10 minutes in and there hasn't been any wrestling. I think there's no doubt that The Rock might have the best physique in the world of anybody. There's no doubt. You gotta respect him. Just a normal person to have that physique, you'd have to respect because he's got one of the best physiques ever in the history of mankind. And then everything he does on top of that. I mean, I have to respect him. And this was one of the reasons that got me to tune in tonight. The Rock. Obviously, he's not going to be a weekly member of the cast. I mean, he just got a $14 million bonus at the end of the year. I wonder how much the front row seats cost to this. It is cool that they can have like one of the number one movie stars in the world involved with their company. It is the only thing I will say though, the number of belts is confusing because like there's already something like 19 or 20 belts. Now The Rock is holding a belt and I'm not even sure what that belt is as we're now almost 12 minutes into the show again with no action. It's great to see The Rock, which I assume these must be his kids. Oh, there's his mom. I've interviewed his mom before. She is a great woman. I've interviewed his dad before too. But again, now we're 12 minutes in with, with literally nothing happening. He's still posing. The Rock must pose. I guess there's no advertising in this. That's one good thing that we don't have to worry about. We're now almost 13 minutes in and not an advertisement yet. I, we can see that there's sponsorships all over the ring, which is something fairly new in wrestling. There's definitely quite an angle in this arena, isn't there? What do you think Stu Hart would say about that man's deltoids? Well, they call it an entertainment show and not a wrestling show. We're 13 minutes in with no wrestling so far. And by the way, the other reason I'm here right now is the gym is closed today for what they consider a snowstorm here in Wichita, Kansas, which would be light flurries in Ottawa, Canada, where I'm from. I don't, it's a watch along as you can hear me talk. You wouldn't want to see my reaction, trust me. Can barely keep my eyes open, but I do like The Rock. I'm not insulting The Rock. If anyone hasn't seen my interview with Rocky Johnson, check it out. I wonder what it evens out to with he made 41 million last year with WWE, not including merchandise. how much each one of these appearances evens out to that he makes. They're charging more money for tickets than any time in the history of the WWE, which is great for the company, bad for people that aren't rich. Yes, largest arena gates because the tickets are outrageous. I think that will catch up to them once some of the bigger stars stop wrestling and they stop having the backup plans. They'll turn off a lot of the more poor people or more average people that can't afford the thousands of dollars for tickets. I'll be honest, I'm having a very hard time watching this right now because it's just blowing smoke up Netflix's ass right now. Let's just blow smoke up each other's butt. Somebody bring out Hulk Hogan already. Before we get the show on the road, it's 7:16 or it's 8:16, 7:16 Central Time. Why do we need this? Again, this is a way of turning off like regular fans that are just going to tune in to like see the Rock. It's like do something interesting. I would like to see The Rock beat him for the title at WrestleMania. That would be great. There you go. There you go. He just smiles at the comment about his mother from The Rock, which is funny, but it makes him look like a pussy. The Rock definitely has the coolness factor. Yeah, it's been 20 minutes. Let's get the show on the road. It's great in a glass GS seeing The Rock again, but I'm bored. I'll be perfectly honest with you. All I'm thinking about right now at 7:20 is how am I going to sit through 3 more hours of this? Even Saturday Night Main Event, like which is one of the best wrestling shows ever, the original, like you wouldn't have 20 minutes of nothing happening. Like literally nothing happened there, other than them sucking up. I guess if you're gonna get however many billion from Netflix, you're gonna it's gonna be a a show putting them over a lot, which they've been doing. But again, nothing. The Rock came out. Is that Cody Rhodes' bodyguards behind them? They look like very big. They look like very big men that you wouldn't want to mess with. What's the over under, Butch? Is if I'm gonna be able to make it through the show. Here we go. We're getting into the first match here. Great outfit on the Macho Man guy. I'll give him that. We've now spent 22 minutes hearing about how historic this is, and I'm bored out of my mind. I don't know if I'll make it through the whole thing, but I'll try and make it to Hulk Hogan's appearance. But all I'm thinking about right now is how can I watch this any longer because I'm freaking bored. The news of wrestling is interesting, but the way that the product is so slow is just boring to me. I'm an action guy. Nice to see a full crowd though. Completely opposite of what AEW has been getting lately. We'll see, I guess, Butch. How slow can we walk to make this more and more boring? And I like Roman Reigns. It's just, to me, exactly. When's Hogan going to come out? That's all I'm thinking too. When is Hulk Hogan going to come out? Because I don't think I'm going to make it past Hogan. If I do, they're going to capture me somehow between now and when Hulk Hogan comes out. But at 7:24, all I'm thinking about is I don't want to watch this anymore. Remember when the Ultimate Warrior used to just run out and get right into it? I miss that. Say what you want about the Ultimate Warrior. He was awesome. The match would already be over, and everyone would have been electrified. I wonder how much this ticket was to sit way back there. The graphics are great. I guess they're gonna wait as close as possible to 7:30 to have any action. And again, if you're one of the first time watching this, like honestly, why would people that aren't wrestling fans want to sit here for half an hour watching literally nothing happen? AEW has some good talent. They just have too many talent to feature them properly. Apparently, they have close to 200 wrestlers, at least 180 talent under contract, from what I understand. And there's only 2 shows now. One of the shows was just canceled. It's just too many to feature. It's better to have less is more. That's a true saying. That's the first time I've seen that ring announcer. If that is a ring announcer. Yeah, it is a ring announcer. Again, we're gonna have to go. We're gonna have to have an introduction now. I thought these people hated each other. Why aren't they fighting already? Why are they not fighting? If they hate each other so much, they're just standing there. I'll be perfectly honest. I am incredibly bored right now. It seems like they're gonna wait to 7:30 to have anything happen, which is incredible. Ugh. He reminds me of the Penguin so much from Batman. Paul Heyman does. All right, 7:28 and nothing has happened. Sorry, I'm on Central Time, guys. It's 8:28 and nothing has happened. Why is the ref keeping them apart? Why don't they ring the bell? Is this the match? I don't get this. Why? Let's just stand here. What's going on? Someone explain to me what's the delay of the match starting here. This is why I just hate wrestling these days. Let's all just stand in the ring and do nothing. This is so boring. I'm telling you guys, I cannot. I really see. It's seven. It's like they are. It's like they're waiting till 7:30 to start the action, or 8:30. Sorry, I keep getting the times confused. But this is so boring. I can't even explain to you how bored I am. Oh, they're gonna take a break now. They're gonna take a break. So literally, this was a. We're supposed to believe these guys hate each other. They've just been standing in the ring for 5 minutes, doing nothing right in front of each other, and now there's an ad. So they're just gonna be like, it's just not the wrestling I grew up with. No, you're not missing anything, Jack. We're all waited here for Hulk Hogan, and I don't think I'm gonna make it. I want to see what Hulk Hogan does, and I don't. I really don't think I'm gonna make it. because I feel like I'd be. Here's the thing: why aren't we paying for free freaking Netflix? And why is there a Subway ad? Where since when is there advertising on Netflix? Why do I? So I guess with WWE, we're gonna have to watch advertisings on Netflix. So okay, so now we're on what, the third ad? Why are we getting ads? Now I feel like I'm being ripped off because I've never seen an ad. Someone explain this to me that's watching this. Why are we seeing ads on Netflix if we have the version of Netflix that doesn't have ads? Someone please explain this to me. Some because they were billing this like we were going to be watching a pay-per-view. At this rate, I hope Hulk Hogan can stay awake long enough to make his appearance. Yes, David, I agree with you. I fully agree with you. At this point, I'm just mad because nothing has happened. It's 8:31 Eastern time, 7:31 Central, and nothing has happened. Zero. They've blown smoke up of Netflix butt, and people have stood around in the ring staring at each other that supposedly hate each other, but done nothing. No, there shouldn't be ads because now I feel like, why did I get Netflix if I have to watch ads? The whole fun. See, it's like they want me to turn it off at this point. Vince wouldn't have let the. I don't know what this is all about. Now there's another ad. There's another ad. This is crazy. You see, I have YouTube Premium where I don't pay for advertisements. I have watched Netflix where I don't pay for advertisement. So why am I watching advertisement on Netflix? This is just annoying the hell out of me. The documentaries they've had on Netflix don't have ads, so why do we have to watch the now it's a blank screen. So is the match actually going to start now? That it's 8:32, the bell is ringing. Again, they hate each other. They supposedly hate each other, but there's no action. YouTube Premium is good. It's well worth it. Yeah, Glenn, it's all about money. This is all about money. Those are interesting shoes that Roman Reigns is wearing. They're not wrestling boots. I wonder if Nike sponsored his shoes. He seems to be wearing. I would definitely guess that Nike has sponsored Roman Reigns some custom shoes. Interesting. At least it's starting now. Macho Man is the best part so far. The Macho Man guy in the crowd, are you talking about? I mean, I got nothing against these guys as wrestlers. It's just the delay in getting the match started. Hmm. The last time I was able to watch Raw was a couple of years ago. Again, they're pulling out all the stops tonight. think they got all their top talent tonight on this show. According to some sources, Roman is making more than Brock Lesnar now, and Brock Lesnar's still under contract. By the way, for people that I wonder if Brock's going to show up tonight. If they could pull out Brock and Goldberg returning, that would be something. All right, here we go. They're putting over Roman Reigns Nike boots. So it's definitely some type of sponsorship deal. Remember when Bret Hart tried to break the monitors after the Survivor Series and they just bounced? That was funny. I heard Meltzer talking today that he could see them bringing McMahon back if this Janelle Grant thing continues to blow over. I personally would like to see McMahon start his own company or take over a company. If this is more ads, like this is infuriating to me. This is absolutely infuriating to me. I'd not had I known they were going to play advertisements through this, I don't even think I would have tried to watch. Because when we buy Netflix, I don't know. I've never why are we having to watch ads? Is everybody seeing these ads? Because we don't buy Netflix expecting advertisements. Heyman heel turn coming. I don't know. Hey, I just want to see Hulk Hogan at this point. Nothing against Roman Reigns or anything, but I'm a little pissed off at these advertisements. I don't think I should have to be watching advertisements if I'm paying for Netflix. I'd rather watch a UFO lecture than this, to be perfectly honest with you. Like, why am I watching a pet food commercial on Netflix? Is this what we can expect? I don't know. Someone's watching Saturday Night Main Event 88 in another tab. Yeah, well, I think for most part, the viewers of my channel have the same taste of wrestling as I do. Tim the Toolman Taylor is now on an advertisement for ABC on Hulu when we're supposed to be watching what I thought was ad-free wrestling on Raw, but we're watching something else. Yeah, there's an advertisement for a Hulu show. Now it's a second dog ad. And again, they never. This is the first I've heard of advertising on Netflix. Maybe I've been in the dark, but I've been watching Netflix for about 7 weeks now without having to see ads. Has Liv Morgan come out yet? No, they've shown her entering the arena. I watched an Entertainment Tonight thing on her a couple days ago, showing her house. She's rolling in the dough. Apparently now the WWE is using this as their LA arena. AEW is going to start going to the Staples Center, which is just crazy with the crowds they've been drawing lately, which have been terrible. The ring, wrestling is the most commercial it's ever been, for better or worse. Just ads and ads and ads and ads. No, I can't do that, young Macho Man Savage. I have been enjoying the UFO content on Netflix overall. There's no advertising on that. I'll call stuff as I see it. I have nothing against these two. Nothing at all. So far we're for Jason, it's 8:42 Eastern, 7:42 Central. We're in the first match. It started about 10 minutes ago. And it's Solo against Roman Reigns. Solo just missed a charge at Roman Reigns. Roman looks great. I'll give him that. I got nothing against the thing that's pissed me off more than anything is the advertisements, but also how boring the first half hour of the show was. If the show had started hot with this match, rather than Triple H putting himself over in the ring for so long, it would have been better. Any new interviews coming? Tank Abbott and Ken Patera live tomorrow together. Lance Von Erich, I'm interviewing live and in person next week when I'm going to be down in Las Vegas, Nevada. Possibly Greg Valentine when I'm down there too, live. Probably Jenny Santana when I'm down there. Scotty Riggs coming up soon. I am interviewing James Fox, the famous UFO movie maker, on Thursday, which I'm pretty excited about. And Tiago from the Investigation Alien Netflix series tomorrow. But you're going to see a lot of great interviews this year. It's going to be a huge effort put out on my part to build this channel. I want to get 1 million subscribers by the end of the year. Ken Patera is always a hit, David, but imagine Ken and Tank Abbott. I've been trying to get these two together for a long time. And Ken just got a new computer yesterday, by the way, so he wants to try it out. They're both really nice guys, by the way. I'll tell you that. Really nice guys. I put them on my list of top 10 nicest people in wrestling. Ken is still going strong at 82, 83. Still got his wits about him. And he's honest. Yeah, I mean, I may have to mute them at certain points if they get too crazy. Here comes a table. This is a no rules matchup, apparently. As far as the actual match, I have no issues with the match or the performers in this match. I wonder how much those shoes Roman Reigns is wearing by Nike are going to sell for. I could imagine a kid going to school in a pair of shoes like that. As I drink some coffee here to try and stay awake. Some people listen while we're trying to watch this, waiting for Hogan. Tell me your top 5 wrestlers in the comments. Let's see some people's top 5s. One of my top 5s would have been the Sheik, the noble Sheik, the original Sheik, Ed Farhat, the uncle of Sabu, who I interviewed his last manager, Dave Drason, a couple of days ago. I should have done a burger review at the same time. I really should have. You know what would have been interesting? I should have drank the Hulk Hogan beers at the same time. But I'm trying to keep a really good diet here, which I have. I'm actually in amazing shape right now, and it's only going to get better. I'm wrestling in the ECW arena May 3rd against Super Crazy. So I'm really focused. I want to have my best performance ever for that. Arnold's Ivan Koloff is one of your favorites. I've heard through many people that Ivan Koloff was another one of the real nice guys in wrestling. Although he did beat up the Iron Sheik at one point. They had a fight, and I'll be honest, it seems like the Iron Sheik. I don't know. I don't know how much of his toughness is a myth. Are they gonna kiss? Are they gonna kiss? This looks so romantic. I love you. I love you. I love you. Ivan Koloff, yeah, he was down to earth. Ken Patera too. Tank Abbott too. One guy who wasn't down to earth or cool was Sweet Daddy Siki, who recently died. Someone was asking about outside interference. There's one of Haku's sons breaking the count. I'm glad that Haku's family is in there. I really like Haku. Let's see Haku. Like, why can't they bring Haku into this angle? People love Haku. If you follow him, he follows back. Not sure who that's referring to. Jason's favorite are Ultimate Warrior, Kerry Von Erich, Randy Savage, Bruiser Brody, and The Undertaker. That's a good list. Ivan follows back. He's dead. Are you sure you're not talking about Nikita? Ivan Koloff died of hepatitis. There's Jacob Fatu. I used to know him a little bit. There's some matches of Jacob Fatu. If you search Jacob Fatu, the Hannibal TV, there's probably like 5 or 6 matches of his on this channel that I've acquired. Always liked him. He's old school. Glad to see he's getting his shot. Does he have a grill? Looks like he's got gold teeth on the bottom. Ivan followed you back a couple years ago. Okay, that would have been before he died because he's been dead for a while. Sadly, he died broke. David's top five are Hogan, Goldberg, Luger, Vader, and Kane. I really like Goldberg. I think he's underrated. Who's running down now? Ugh. Well, someone was asking earlier, is there going to be interference? Here's the whole roster coming out to interfere. So remember when I said that I had no problems with the matches, with the match so far? Now it's a little bit too much. It's becoming a little bit too much. Terry Funk, always good to hang out. Terry Funk was a very down to earth person. I believe it or not, I was pretty good friends with him. He actually wanted to get me in somewhere because you know how much dues I'd paid even years ago when he was still alive. I think that "this is awesome" chant is overused. Kevin Owens with his big beer belly making an appearance. One of Triple H's favorite wrestlers. See, this is just too much. They lost me when they went with all this interference. Oh, someone else a surprise interference, but the person's music is playing. You got to play the guy's music when he interferes, right? If Ken Patera knocked on my door and claimed his right, he'd send his wife. That's funny. Actually, I saw a picture of Ken, and I should show this to him with one of his wives recently, and he had a really attractive wife, very attractive wife. Apparently, he's got a 120-foot driveway. He was telling me today, and he owns a tractor that he plows it with. God rest superstar Billy Graham, one of my best friends and a mentor to me. And I really took his death hard. But apparently, I wasn't close enough with him. They're doing a Dark Side of the Ring on Dark Side of the Ring apparently hate me because they bashed me like hell for no reason in the Abdullah the Butcher Dark Side of the Ring. And they're not using me in the Billy Graham or Billy Jack Haynes ones, even though I was so integral in Billy's life when he passed. Roman Reigns just won, and Billy Jack Haynes, I was his closest wrestler friend and still remain in contact with him. Jack, you got access to this. I still don't get the appeal of Steen, otherwise known as Kevin Owens. I really don't, but I'm glad Roman Reigns won that. I just wish that match didn't have. I think the interference took away from the match. Superstar and I was like his grandson. I truly loved him. Like I loved him as family. It's no coincidence that I had a really bad few months after he passed. And at the same time, I believe he may have saved me from the other side. One of the people, along with my grandma, that may have pulled some strings to give me a second chance of life. The funny thing is, Jason, as far as wrestling matches being called cinema, as we see The Rock coming out here, these guys aren't allowed to be part of the Actors Guild. They want to call them, like, they want to say it's all entertainment and it's the longest running TV show, but they're not classified as actors. I can't even get, and I'm a subscriber. You can't get Raw on Netflix? A wrestling manager is a thing of the past. Well, Paul Heyman is one. Don Callis is one in AEW, although you don't hear much about him anymore. But Paul Heyman is one of the most over people in WWE. Here we go. We got The Rock with the tribal necklace. Is he going to present it to Roman Reigns? Is this going to set up WrestleMania? Here's the big moment of the night. See, this is one thing AEW is missing: star power. We have Paul Heyman in the shots, Roman Reigns and The Rock. Like, it doesn't get much more star power than that as far as wrestling. Apparently, a lot of people had, well, several people had issues with Netflix. That arm wrestling spot, David, the funny thing about that was I don't even remember. We weren't planning on even doing that. And the funny thing was, I don't even remember how we got into doing that little skit, but they ended up calling the police, and I actually had to leave. People thought it, even though I got booed in that restaurant, like, people called the police on me. They thought it was real. My little temper tantrum was superstar. And I remember he actually told me to go. He's like, "You got to get out of here, man. You got too much heat." So I power walked to a McDonald's that was about 6 or 7 minutes away and waited there to get picked up. And someone did call the police, and Billy was just laughing his ass off that we had caused such a scene at the restaurant. And then that was actually a restaurant that him and Valerie used to go to quite a lot. So they put the heat on me for it. They said that guy was nuts. It had nothing to do with us. But I remember that was a fun day. How pumped up Billy was when I saw him at that McDonald's after. And if anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, search up Billy Graham versus Hannibal arm wrestling match. And how many heels of today can get heat in a restaurant for an arm wrestling match where they don't even know who we are at that point? CM Punk being shown warming up. Thank you, the Ragu Overlord. That was fun. And he put me over. Billy put me over in that too. So I can say I defeated superstar Billy Graham in an arm wrestling match. Now we're getting back into the advertisements. So for that match, I like everything about it other than the interference, which kind of, wouldn't say fully ruined the match for me, but I could have done without the interference. Oh my god, I hate advertisements. When you get spoiled and you don't have advertisements, now we're watching a hamburger ad for Applebee's, where, by the way, I just ate there last week. and I had quite a feast. Yeah, Jack, they just wanted, let's see how many people we can throw into this match. David. Yeah, the drinks fell. It made a bit of a mess. But we did tip them well. We did end up tipping them well. And there wasn't, I know Billy says in it, we'll pay for the damage, but all it was a couple of chairs turned over and some spilt drinks, some napkins. But it was funny. There was serious heat that day. Now we're watching a Ryan Reynolds Mint commercial. You see, what has the most heat with me on this show so far is the freaking commercials. An unplanned battle royal. Well, it couldn't have been that unplanned because the interference, when they just had the interference, the people doing the interference had music, which completely turns me off. Yes, Jack, I don't know what the deal is with that, but whatever. Good for that relationship between those two. I'm not saying Triple H is not talented or doesn't have his talents. He's a great politician. But how slow this has been moving along so far, it's not my style of booking. It's not Crash TV. My favorite wrestling was the Hulk Hogan 1980s wrestling that I fell in love with. Then WCW Nitro before it got bad. And the Attitude Era third. But I would actually even put the early WCW, the early 90s. I actually liked that. I recently even watched a bunch of Saturday night WCW Saturday night episodes. As a kid, I liked it. And there were so many great wrestlers on the roster at that time. They will lose viewers with this many ads. I mean, the first half hour of the show, nothing happened. I'd rather have a condensed show with lots of action, less ads, but they want to make as much money as possible. I get that. I fully get that. But I'm bored. Like, I want to stop watching right now. Ringside interviews. Yeah. See, now I am bored looking at this ad. Like, all I'm thinking about is I'm paying for Netflix, which is supposed to be ad free, and I'm watching freaking ads. It's actually angering to me. There's no doubt between the Netflix money, all this ad revenue that they're getting from sponsors and everything, and the arena gates, which they're charging more than any time in history for tickets, that they're making a lot. You got to give that to them. But it's a different product. There's no doubt. Again, then they're going to Royal Rumble in 2026. Who knows how much they're getting paid for Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia advertisements now that we're watching. They're getting their money's worth for whatever they're paying WWE. Again, we had the one match, and now we got to wait and sit through all these advertisements. I just don't have the patience for this. This is why I rather watch stuff on YouTube where you can just watch like the highlights. of anything good that's happened. You don't have to sit through all the in-between crap. Hey, more talking. Let's just film the announcers again for a while. Jesse Ventura, no, he's not on the show. He's only for the Saturday night main event. He would have been good, though. He would have been good. Hey, Austin, what's his name there? That Austin guy that they had beat John Cena not too many years ago. How the mighty have fallen. They just showed him sitting up in one of the media boxes. I don't even remember his name. Something Austin. They had him wrestle and beat John Cena for some reason a few years ago. They're showing Ashton Kutcher in the audience. Who the Austin friggin' what the Austin Theory. They put him over John Cena a few years ago, and now they just showed him sitting in a box watching this. Like he wasn't able to take the ball and run with it when they passed it to him. Rey Mysterio's in the crowd. LA Knight's in the crowd. Uncle Howdy's in the crowd. I think it's Uncle Howdy, anyways. Maybe it's one of the Viking Raiders. The War Raiders. The guys that bumped when that big money guy missed the dive on them, and they bumped to the Invisible Wrestler. Top Dollar. Remember on SmackDown? All I remember about the Viking Raiders is Top Dollar completely missed them, and they bumped anyways without being touched, which is a sign of a horrible wrestler. LA Knight, he had a huge push. I'm sure he's making great money, but he seems to be on the downswing these days. But he's a great talent. All right, John Cena's coming out now. And Top Dollar ended up getting fired over that screw up. For anyone that remembers, now he's in TNA. John Cena coming out. Okay, so the last match ended around 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. We're almost 10 minutes later, and we're about to get a speech from John Cena, it looks like. So an hour and 8 minutes in, there's only been one match. John Cena looking good. John Cena, one of the biggest China supporters out there, but I do hold nothing against him as a wrestler. I recently watched his biography, and it's funny how they completely cut out Rick Bassman from it. They also cut Bassman out from the Warrior biography. They said the Warrior was from the Gold's Gym team. Are we going to see some physicality in this promo? Supposedly 23,000 tickets pre-sold for the 60,000 plus Sky Dome in Toronto for Cena's last match in Toronto in March. He looks legitimately excited to be back. No, Bassman never gets his due. He does have temper issues in some ways. He definitely has temper issues in some ways. So I don't know if that was a hindrance to him overall. But in my experience, I haven't had any bad experiences with Rick. Oh my God, this is boring. This is the mandatory let's put over Netflix part. Thank you, Netflix. Blah, 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 blah. This is freaking boring. I'd rather watch a Brooklyn Brawler match than hear people just thanking Netflix. This is getting tough to sit through. This is getting really tough to sit through. Who is the greatest heel in WWE in 2025? I don't know if I know the answer. You know who else slept in his car at Gold's Gym Venice? Magic Schwartz, the star of Grunt, the wrestling movie, who played Mad Dog Joe DiCurso, for anyone that understands that reference. Which I'd rather watch Grunt, the wrestling movie again than hear him put over Netflix anymore. Somebody attack him. See what I like about 80s wrestling, you'd have the short promos, in character promos that were short and sweet mixed in with matches. Sometimes you'd have the Brother Love show or Piper's Pit or Mean Gene standing on the podium with someone for a couple minutes. But I mean, John Cena's been in the ring now for like 5 minutes talking about Netflix. Like, to me, if they're trying to get non-fans to like watch, this does not make me want to watch. This does not. All I'm thinking watching this is, when is Hulk Hogan gonna come out? Ugh. What is Logan Paul advertised for this? I wonder. Yes, Logan Paul is supposed to be part of this, apparently. Apparently, there's only going to be 3 matches. There's only going to be 3 matches, apparently. McIntyre against somebody, one of the Usos. Punk against. No, there'll be 4 matches. Punk against. I'm looking at the pictures here. Punk against Seth Rollins. Jey Uso against Drew McIntyre. I don't want to watch that at all. Logan Paul returns. John Cena. Plus a hell of a lot of advertisements and a hell of a lot of talking in the ring. I don't like these boring monologues. This is just so boring to me. I think I'll stick to watching it on YouTube where I can fast forward through this stuff or just not watch it. There's a Liv Morgan match too. Yeah, she's facing. See, at least that I'd like to see because at least it's good-looking women wrestling. As much as might not be a fan of wrestling, good-looking women in tights battling it out, that appeals to me, whether I'm a fan of wrestling or not. Liv Morgan against Rhea Ripley. Yeah, that should be good. Shades of the Stratford Festival. Jack Kilby making a joke about a festival in Ontario for Shakespeare where it's a lot of people just talking. I'd watch the Stratford Festival if I actually liked this type of crap. They should have just jumped right in that. Somebody should, like, honestly, like, this is boring to a normal person. If you're trying to get new fans, just might be checking this out for the first time. This is just boring. Thank you to Netflix. Thank you to Raw. Thank you to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's see some action. This is boring. If this is just a speech with nothing happening at all in it, this is really disappointing. It's a speech where he talks about he's going to win the Royal Rumble in the end, which I would like to see that, and I think it very well could happen. But as far as the speech, it was too long. 8:17, about 10-minute speech. Now we got another advertisement. Oh, looked like an advertisement, but it's a promo for Logan Paul. See, I do respect Logan Paul. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I definitely have respect for him. And by the way, he's supposed to be fighting Conor McGregor for supposedly $250 million in India at some point this year. I don't know if I'm going to try watching this for the Royal Rumble or not, because the Royal Rumble is also going to be on Netflix, but the way it's going right now. The farewell to John Cena, that was terrible. I don't think that was his farewell. He's going to be around all year. But that nothing happened there. Here's Logan Paul in the crowd. Looking like a star. He's got the star look. They're smart signing. This was a guy that knew nothing about wrestling that they signed to help get the younger crowd. All right, here we go. Liv Morgan against Rhea Ripley. See, this is again. This might be the match I want to see. Apparently, Enzo trained Liv Morgan. Enzo is a really nice guy. I technically went to a New York Jets game with him a couple months ago with my friend Angelo and a bunch of people that resembled the old school fraternity from the movie Old School. And that was quite an adventure, to say the least. Yeah, his shirt said farewell to her, yeah. For sure. Dominic Mysterio, or sorry, Liv Morgan apparently used to date Uncle Howdy. Who's the girl? Who's the girl managing her? I missed that. It looks like they might be going to another ad. One thing I've learned tonight is Netflix is not ad free, even if you're paying for the top package. Who's going to win for everyone watching still? Liv or Rhea Ripley? Let's have a little poll here. Who is going to win? Hello, Mr. Tom. I'm watching a commercial with you here on Netflix. $20 a month for total wireless. Why the bigger question, total wireless, is why are we seeing your ads if we're paying for ad free? Did anyone watch the NFL games on Netflix? Did they have ads? John thinks Liv is going to win. I think Liv has overtaken Rhea Ripley as the most over woman in wrestling right now. I think they're going to hold off on The Rock. I think The Rock is a heel, isn't he, Tom? Wasn't The Rock a heel last time? Then maybe it's still up in the air. I don't know if The Rock could ever be a full heel. George, who cares about what? About who's the most over female in WWE? Well, I'm more interested to just know who the top people are than actually watch it. You hear a lot about Tiffany, but as far as mainstream, you hear more about Liv than anybody these days. Someone says it's going to be a double count out. They definitely cheered The Rock tonight, 100%. Well, who are they going to cheer? Like, that's the thing. The Rock can be a heel all he wants. He's still the biggest movie star out there. It's hard not to cheer him. Goya black beans. We're watching a commercial for that now. Now someone at a dentist office. They should have used Britt Baker for this, who apparently broke up with her wrestler boyfriend recently, who I forget his name is escaping me right now, but he's one of the AEW millionaires. Adam something. Are these drones making the WWE signs outside? Are they drones? NFL had ads for only the people that had the cheapest plans. Well, I don't have the cheapest plan. So this is kind of frustrating. Yeah, it looks like they have like a drone show outside, which is interesting. Thank you, Matt. It's fitting to be using drones right now with all the hoopla about drones. Now we're just looking at the outside of the arena for no reason. Seth Green. I recognize him, but I can't think of. I guess he's from a Netflix show. Oh, Macaulay Culkin. Hey, there we go. That might be the biggest pop of the night so far for Macaulay Culkin from Home Alone. Remember when Macaulay Culkin was at WrestleMania 7 and Bobby Heenan made the joke, "How'd you like to be home alone with the Nasty Boys?" Topanga from Boy Meets World. R.I.P. Vader, who once appeared on that show. See, someone's in the ring. Why are we just this is how slow it is. This is what turns me off and why I don't want to watch. Because it's just like I don't care about this. It must really suck for the wrestlers that aren't good enough to be on the show and have to sit in the crowd. Yakamura, as Sid calls him. X-Pac's in the crowd. I've interviewed him. Showing off his man bun with the ladies. I think Naomi's with one of the Usos, isn't she? I'm sure X-Pac is still a ladies' man. See, they're just standing in the ring now for like 10 minutes. Why? What's the delay? What is the delay in this match? Please explain to me why they're just standing in the ring for so long. For the millionth time, I'm so happy they're not using the Titantron. She's got a good look to her. She got the superstar look for sure. I believe she's with Buddy Matthews from AEW, who recently re-signed with them. The drone show, that's pretty cool. That's the thing with the drones. So many people there was obviously some weird stuff going on in the sky, but there's so much you can do with drones nowadays. People are still. I think whatever's happened has pretty much happened with the big thing over it. Because there was more than just drones. But I think a lot of for people that are supposedly still seeing stuff, is just regular drones. Did she change her jacket from the last time, or am I just forgetting it? Too bad Outback Jack couldn't have managed her for this one. Okay, so there we go. It's Raquel Rodriguez managing her, whoever that is. I've heard the name. They're definitely recording this with the absolute highest definition. Crashing a drone into a wrestler would be a good gimmick. That would be used. That's something Vince Russo would come up with. It would be a good gimmick to use, honestly. That's a good note, Tom. Like it'd be very fitting to like somehow incorporate a drone into a finish. Here we go. It's 8:30 now, so this is the second match. Sorry, 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central. So an hour and a half in, we're in match 2. So I guess this is the thing. Half an hour of nothing happening, a half hour match. These outfits are a long way from Wendy Richter and the Fabulous Moolah. The second two matches and two matches on the same table. And now we got an ad. Is this Grimace? It's the green version of Grimace. So now they actually have wrestlers doing an ad for a phone company. So I guess that they're going to consider that wrestling because it's wrestlers doing an advertisement. Just so many ads in this. Raquel is 6'1". Ripley looks like Marilyn Manson. She does. I got no issues with her. She whines a bit much for being overpaid. Not. I mean, I'm glad they're getting more money, but the old wrestlers had to deal with so much more as far as fan tax and dealing with fans. They barely have to work and they make millions and millions, and then she bitches and complains about fans having to sign autographs. It's like I don't care if you sign them or not, you're a heel, but just to make such a big deal about it when you have such an easy job. They get to fake fight for a living and be millionaires and be world famous and travel the world. It's a fun job. The grind is not there anymore. Plus, you get the adrenaline rush from the crowd, catering, first class flights in a lot of cases these days, buses in a lot of cases these days. There's not that much to complain about. And the crowd is chanting Hogan, Hogan, Hogan. The one funny thing I'll say for AEW when they fired Ric Flair, when I got free tickets to the AEW show last year, before the show, everybody was wooing and they didn't even use Flair on the show. It's like one of their most over guys was Ric Flair and they did nothing with Flair. They could have used him to get someone else over, but they did absolutely nothing with him. Heels used to have to fight their way back to the locker room. And a lot of them, like Ivan Koloff, who we talked about earlier, died with nothing because they hardly made any money. They worked for decades. So helped build the industry so these people can be what I would consider spoiled. A lot of them do appreciate it, and a lot of them don't. I hope all these AEW people, and there's a hell of a lot of them that have contracts for doing nothing, appreciate it. There's people in AEW that have wrestled like a handful of times in a year, just making so much money. Where in the old days, the wrestlers had to work so hard for their money, and they had to actually draw to earn money. Now you don't have to draw to earn money. Larry Zbyszko got stabbed. Yeah, Larry Zbyszko is a great guy. I'll be honest with you guys always when I say who's a good guy and who's a bad guy. Larry Zbyszko is one of the good guys in wrestling. Today's women of wrestling, and I'm not saying this is bad, but they wear pretty much stripper outfits. That's why it's easier to watch for me than men's wrestling because at least it's attractive girls in stripper outfits, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all. Bill Lennox misses the Attitude Era, finds a lot of the matches repetitive. Tom, did I ever make up with the Goon? No. I told his agent that I would have a match with him, and he did not want to have a match with me. In other words, he's a pussy. The Goon is not one of the good people in wrestling, by the way. He did say he would do another interview with me, and I made an offer, and it wasn't enough, by the way. It's like this guy does not. First of all, if he wants to redeem himself and do an interview with me where he's not messed up, he should be paying me. Who got the bigger pop? I wasn't really pay. The entrances were so far apart. Who got the bigger pop between Ripley and Morgan? Was anyone paying attention to that? The Goon was drunk and looked like he smelled of cheap food. He should have been mad at the person that. Well, I don't know if what the whole situation was, but he should never have gone on camera that day. I should have just. It was a bad day for the Goon. Dark Journey was completely messed up too, and again, Dark Journey gave me 35 minutes, and I paid for an hour. So she was dishonest. She pretended to turn her phone off. Ripley by far got the bigger pop. So there you go. I'll trust you on that, Tom. To me, Ripley's better. And look. To me, I guess Ripley's number one right now. Has Charlotte Flair returned yet? I know there's been rumblings about it. Bill confirming that Ripley got the bigger pop. Both of these women were also interviewed by Logan Paul recently. And so was Dominic. Dominic's was a pretty boring interview overall. And between Ripley and Liv Morgan, I would say Ripley's was better, but I couldn't make it through. Couldn't make it through Rhea's, Dominic's, or Liv's Logan Paul interviews. Couldn't make it through Rey Mysterio's either. Couldn't make it through Randy Orton's either, but I watched portions of them. They were just not good enough to hold me. I watched the whole Hulk Hogan Logan Paul one though. Say what you want about Hogan, and he might lie through his whole interviews, but they're entertaining. Crisco Country Life is a huge Rhea Ripley fan. What's up? We're just fighting. We're trying to make it through. We're trying to make it through. Bill heard Charlotte might be returning at the Rumble. I think Rhea has the better physique than Liv. Ugh. Dominic is a good heel. I'll give him that. He might be the best heel in the WWE. NWO for life. I'd like to see the NWO appear in this for sure. I think John Cena is going to win the Rumble, Jose. I would almost 100% think that. I would guess Rhea's probably legitimately stronger than Dominic. Well, so far I've enjoyed this match more than the first one. Now there's a pin. There's a pin. I know Jack doesn't like girls wrestling, but I don't know. I'd rather watch this stuff than guys wrestling any day. Rhea could body slam Abdullah. No, she couldn't because I've felt the girth of Abdullah, and he is a big sack of crap. Big sack of crap. It's like a belly full of rocks. He doesn't carry his weight well. Will Abdullah the Butcher make it through 2025? He's been awful silent lately. After collecting a big GoFundMe last year and appearing at fan conventions the same week as he was claiming he was on death's door. Great worker. I'll give Abdullah this. He's a great worker. It's nice to see the packed crowd. I'll say that. It's really nice to see the packed crowd. Dominic getting a butt kicking by Rhea. That's probably an intergender match a lot of people would want to see. They built that up well. John Cena should run a wrestling company. He's probably making way more money in the movies, but I heard he could be making a ridiculous amount of money to return to WWE for the year. I've heard as much as 30 million. I've heard that. And honestly, it wouldn't surprise me because The Rock made 41 million last year, not including merchandise. You gotta have the posing. Well, I don't know if Cena will win an Oscar or not, but he's been doing pretty well in acting as far as getting jobs on movies that pay really well. WOW is underrated. It always beats TNA. It always gets way more views than TNA. TNA doesn't even get a 0.01 rating most weeks. WOW can get 0.04, 0.05s. They're a lot more popular than, for instance, MLW and NWA, but no one ever talks about WOW. Piper was a good actor too. Here's the Undertaker's music playing. Now they're teasing that the American Badass is going to come out. Here he comes. The American Badass gimmick that we haven't seen for a while. So that, I guess, this had nothing to do with Rhea Ripley. I guess the Undertaker's just coming out to salute the crowd. Who was a better badass than Taker? His former partner, Danny Spivey, was more of a badass as far as an actual badass, but he wasn't as successful as a wrestler. See, is Ripley going to get on the... Here's what I don't get. Is she not going to get on the bike? If she doesn't get on the bike, this is stupid. She doesn't hop on the bike and leave with him on the bike. What the hell? Okay, so he comes out on the bike, and she doesn't even go. But she doesn't even leave on the bike with him. To me, that was weird. Kofi Kingston up in the media box. That's got to be tough when these guys see a packed house and they're stuck up in the box watching, pretending to be excited. Oh, I'm not on the show. How exciting! Yeah, Waylon Mercy is badass, like legit. You would not want to mess with him, particularly in his prime. Dangerous Dan, the left-hand man. You know what I mean? Dusan checking in from Norway. Adam Pearce is a very corporate guy. He refused to do an interview with me once because I think he was afraid he would get heat from WWE. Nice guy, but your typical geek. To me, this guy's boring. 420 cheers to all. I'm waiting for Hulk Hogan, Dusan. I could use some of that to make it to the end of this, but I'm not doing that. I'm here to train. Wrestling in ECW Arena this May, and I'll be in the best shape you ever saw me in. I don't know who any of these guys are other than Chad Gable and the general manager, Adam Pearce, there. Adam Pearce, he's just his real life personality is that of like your typical office stooge, corporate geek type guy. At this point in WWE, I wouldn't mind seeing them bring back gimmicks. This match, I really have no interest in watching. This upcoming match. We got, they say it's going to go over 3 hours, right? When's Hulk Hogan going to appear? We heard all the rumblings Hulk Hogan was going to appear. But now we're getting more advertisements. Yeah, apparently WWE in Atlanta might be Goldberg's last match. I hope not. I hope he does a bunch of them this year. He's got more left in the tank. They're advertising upcoming WWE Netflix events. This is boring ad-wise. Let's look at the news of the day while we're watching these ads for chips. Chicken wing ads. 17,000 fans at the show tonight. Apparently, John Cena, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Hulk Hogan are all supposed to be there. So we haven't seen Shawn Michaels or Hogan appear yet. There's 2 matches left. Punk versus Rollins. Uso against McIntyre. By now, Hulk Hogan's body's probably hurting. I hope Hogan comes soon. It's going to be past Hogan's bedtime soon. Yeah, bring back Vince. That would be pretty interesting, wouldn't it, if they did that? I don't think we've seen the last of Vince. I think missed 2 pictures on the whole internet, Janelle Grant. People have seen through a lot of her stuff. Apparently, Tommy Dreamer got injured last week. I didn't even know he was still wrestling. Rashad Evans and Rampage Jackson are going to have a boxing match. By the way, I'm just reading the news because there's advertisements on Netflix. We get advertisements during Raw. Bronson Reed injured his talus bone, the bone that connects the foot to the ankle, smashing it in half. Says it was repaired with screws and fragments were removed. Yeah, I know all about injuries, man. I'm sorry to hear that, but at least you're making huge money. Bye bye Raw on Sportsnet. I haven't had cable for years, so I mean, I would say it's better to see Raw on Netflix because you don't have to deal with ads, but we get ads. Apparently, there's even a post show if the 3 hour plus isn't enough for you. I have to say though, I'm getting burnt out at this point. The breaks in between are too much. The Rock has left the building. We're seeing a scene from The Rock's Instagram now. You got to have the Triple H hug in there. Of course, these shows are full of Triple H propaganda. The propaganda for Triple H is ridiculous. The commercials are long and the time in between matches are long. You know, John, you got it. This program is too long. Like it would be two if it was 2 hours now, like cram everything into 2 hours and let's put an end to it. Now you're asking me to stay longer. Is Jesse there? No, Jesse is not doing anything tonight. The Rock is going to be at NXT tomorrow night. I guess he's going to support his daughter. So that's good for NXT. No, there's no more great sitcom shows, is there? Is Stephanie McMahon back? Well, she's married to Triple H. I'm sure she still has a say in stuff. I'm sure they talk about it all the time. Will the Super Crazy match be streamed? I don't think so. Will it go on this channel eventually? Yes. Yeah, maybe that's why Jesse isn't here, because they still don't like each other. Netflix has sent all their actors to this. There's a lot of celebrities in the crowd. There's the Undertaker's wife. I met her, I think in Calgary once. All the poor wrestlers in the crowd that have to put on fake smiles, that I'm sure drives them crazy that they can't be in the ring for this. I'm sure he will at least once, Jose. See, why are we wasting so like? Does this bother anybody else? Like the long periods of time in between. It's so boring. They're doing some entrances, so I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Just getting some water. Did I miss anything in the 2 minutes I was gone? There. Well, don't tell that to the women wrestlers that we were just watching, my friend. Although there's a lot of them in wrestling for sure. Any botches yet? I think there hasn't been anything. It's the better wrestlers that they've been using. I really don't want to watch this match, though. I got zero interest to watch this match. Thank you, Dusan. I appreciate it. How long has the show been? The show's been on for 2 hours, and there's been 2 matches. There's been a hell of a lot of talking, a hell of a lot of advertising. That is true, George. Like, people that are sucking up to this guy, he puts himself over a lot. And if people want to ignore how badly he puts himself over, go ahead. But to me, this is a boring show. I'm not saying he doesn't have some talent. I'm just saying this show, it's been too long. The Roman Reigns match so far was a decent match. There's too much interference in it. The girls match was the best thing I've seen from the show. Nothing happened with The Rock of interesting, other than he looked great, and it's nice to see him back. Who wins between Pat McAfee and Ty Domi? Ty Domi. Here's an advertisement for Toronto's. Something to do with Toronto. Elimination Chamber. Now we're watching a Minute Maid commercial. We are watching a Minute Maid freaking commercial on freaking Netflix. There's too many gaps, yes. There's too many gaps. There hasn't been one backstage segment. Again, there's just way too many gaps. This is a turnoff. This is a huge turnoff to me. There's nothing about this that makes me want to watch next week. Everything about this show, and this is just my God's honest truth, just makes me want to say, okay, well, next time I'll just watch on YouTube. Watch the highlights of the girls' match, watch the quick part of The Rock. I could see what happens with Roman Reigns all in under 10 minutes. This to me is wasting my life away. Plus the Hulk Hogan thing. Why would anyone want to watch this when they could just watch the Hulk Hogan clip the next day? Other than now, I'm invested into this over 2 hours. I'm getting a Minute Maid commercial, and now it's a Den of Thieves 2 commercial. There's still no tougher French Canadian than Mad Dog Vachon. I agree. See, now I'm getting feisty because I'm getting angry that I'm watching all these ads. I want to put Triple H in a pine box. That's what Mad Dog Vachon would say. You see, all I want to do is fast forward this, which I guess people can do if they're not watching it live. But to me, the ads are a huge turnoff of this. You're not getting the same commercials I'm getting. What's playing for you right now, John? I'm getting a commercial for a rapper in a store. Someone's buying crackers or something. There's a guy rapping. I guess it's for bagels. No, it's crackers. Okay. Goya Maria cookies. Mad Dog opened the door of a plane. Who knows if he actually got it open, because wrestlers lie a lot and they all seem to survive. It's a pay-per-view advertisement. Okay, so maybe I'm getting different than you're getting, because I'm getting now an insurance company advertisement. And this is the first time I've ever seen advertisements on Netflix. The world famous coffee pot. I got some memories of some coffee pots. They're advertising NXT tomorrow night now. Again, there's so much time in between action. It's been so long since the last match, and now we're seeing more ads. Now they're advertising New Year's Evil. Triple H acts like a mark. He's running the company. What a joke. Vince McMahon's. That's Jose's opinion. I think Triple H is overrated. John, yeah, I have ads on mine. A combination of wrestling ads and commercial ads. But I've been watching. I've had Netflix now for almost 2 months, about 7 weeks, and this is the first time I've ever seen any ads on Netflix. Yes, I'm positive because I've never seen any ads on Netflix until today, unless the ads only count for live streaming shows. But either way, I guess you're seeing WWE commercials while I'm seeing other commercials, so we're both seeing commercials of some type. But I'm also seeing the WWE commercials. Will we ever see legends utilized properly? I'll say The Rock will make sure that he's used well. Undertaker, I mean, his appearance that he made a few minutes ago wasn't bad, but as far as if Rhea Ripley's not going to drive off with him on the bike, what's the point? Get him, Hulk Hogan and Jesse the Body. You know what would be good if I was Triple H booking WWE? I would put a debate between Hulk Hogan and Jesse the Body. That I would want to see more than any of this that's been on so far. 99 Punk World Radio FM is only seeing ads showing WWE commercials. You're in Canada. I am in Wichita, Kansas. So maybe it's a location thing. Either way, a commercial's a commercial to me. I don't want to see any commercials. Hey, great. It's not. I mean, we delayed enough. They're getting it underway without in-ring introductions. He's won some points for me for that. Okay, John, thanks. Where are you located, John? Are you Canada or the US? I'm just curious to know. Drew's in shape for sure. I'll give him that. He's improved a lot over the years. He doesn't kayfabe at all in outside media, which is kind of a turnoff to me. But he's done well for himself. John's in Cornwall, Ontario. Okay. Well, I think it might be a thing between Canada and the US. Canada might not have the same ads on Netflix in the US because I got a US package. And I've been to Cornwall a lot, by the way, John. I've had some matches there over the years, too. Got some friends there. Nice little town. And by the way, John, I don't think WWE is ever going to come back to Cornwall. Where, by the way, anyone that didn't know, the last TV taping they did in Cornwall was 2 nights after Survivor Series 97. It used to be a regular stop for WWE. They did some superstars and challenge tapings there, but they're cutting out small towns. The ring doesn't look bad with the ads on it. I'll say it almost looks more sportive with all the advertisements on the ring. I had heard the Hulk Hogan beer was also going to be on there, but I don't see it. Who can punch someone 10 times and not knock them out when you're that strong? You must really not know how to throw a punch. The guy's still strong enough to power bomb you. If I punched a guy 10 times in a downward motion, he'd be knocked out or at least all bloody. I wish Canada would become the 51st state, to be honest with you. Good riddance to Justin Trudeau, by the way. I think there'd be way more benefits than negatives to Canada becoming the 51st state. David says he thinks the Hogan beer advertisement is in one of the corners. Okay, maybe it's just not standing out to me. Looks like Jay's got a grill on too. Ty Domi could take 10 punches to the head and you'd have a sore hand. I agree. That's true. I've never been a fan to the whole 10 punches to the head gimmick. So far, the girls' match is still my favorite match. Remember when Drew got beat up by the Nasty Boys in that jobber match? He's come a long way since then. Come a long way up, and the Nasty Boys have come a long way down. Liv jobbed, yeah, but it was the most watchable. I mean, the Roman Reigns match wasn't bad other than the interference. This one isn't bad, but I'd rather watch women in skimpy outfits wrestle than men. It's just the way I am. CM Punk, I mean, I haven't really seen him wrestle for a while, so we'll see what I think of that one. I'm really looking forward to what are they going to have Hulk Hogan do, if anything, because it's 10:13 now. We're getting pretty far into the show. Pure Six Brawl. I don't know. We need something. I think I've just seen two. It's getting too long at this point. It's getting too long. I'm going to be all wrestlinged out tonight. This is a very slow paced match. The crowd is split. Bring Trish back. I don't think we've seen the last of Trish, unless AEW pays her a crap load of money to come, which I think might not be a bad investment for AEW. They've got a lot of weight that they could cut at AEW to bring in someone like Trish, which, as far as I'm concerned, for AEW, they're missing like recognizable faces. Wasn't Penta supposed to do something on this show too? Tom, I don't know. I guess it didn't work out, or she made more money going back into wrestling. This is not the type of match you need right now, a slow paced match. It's buffering now. Two of the best, but you're putting me to sleep. But I'm not necessarily saying it's you guys, it's the show's getting too long. Nice leg slapping. Great leg slapping in this match. More leg slapping. More leg slapping. This is a leg slapping great match. If you like leg slapping, this is the match of the night for you. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to. I'm watching this on computer and TV. It seems to have frozen on my TV. As my mic falls. Ugh. I grunt and groan a lot. I'm getting burnt out. Oh, here it is. New AEW tag team, the leg slappers. There's a lot of. I think the whole leg slapping thing is. Everybody knows the trick now. It's not like when Chris Adams or Shawn Michaels used to do it, when people didn't know. Now everybody knows. And to me, in a real fight, you're never going to slap your leg. Definitely the girls' match is number one so far. Roman Reigns is number two. And again, we're 2 hours and 18 minutes into the show, and we're on the third match, and the third match is the worst of the three so far. Thank God it's over. I'm cheering because it's over. Woohoo! It's over. Now let's wrap this up. Let's get into the last match. Oh, this girl is so happy to touch him. That's funny. Good for him. Who said there's no more groupies in wrestling? Look how happy that girl is. Now I'm seeing an ad for Gunther. Baker or Brantford, Ontario, checking in. Speaking of towns in Canada that are small where WWE used to do tapings, Brantford was a staple. Yeah, Raw is going to be 3 hours, which again, we're 2 hours and 19 minutes in now. And I can honestly say I wish it was 2 hours at this point. One happy rat, yeah. They still exist. Clearly in some places. I don't know how we can still take Gunther seriously as a champion after he lost clean to Cody Rhodes at the last Saudi Arabia pay-per-view. Can I go to Saskatchewan and interview Lesnar? I would love to interview Brock Lesnar, and I think I might get to one day further down the road. But I don't think I could just show up at his house. More talking. More talking. Now a fat comedian wearing a Netflix shirt. Plugging. Again, this is pretty much a commercial. Now they have a comedian. Unless a wrestler comes and attacks this guy, I really don't want to see it. Here's the New Day interfering in this. I've wrestled Kofi Kingston before, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know. Yeah, it's Bastion Booger. It's Bastion Booger. Rest in peace, Bastion Booger. Yeah. I know what you're talking. Again, I don't. They're definitely not gearing this show towards people that have tuned out of WWE. The best part about that segment was the announcer. Now we're seeing Roman Reigns with a necklace. Let's just get on with the show, for crying out loud. The pace is way too slow. I agree. Everyone's pretty much. I mean, we're all wrestling fans watching this, obviously. Yeah, remember when AEW said they were going to be old school, and in the end, they're less old school than ever? There's an AEW guy from the Dark Order that put on a show last weekend where they had invisible wrestlers. Just, that's such a joke. Now it's a TurboTax commercial. This is just we're at the point where it's like, is this still on? But now I'm into it. Thank you guys for keeping me entertained so far. I don't know if they're not doing a good job of making it look like a pay-per-view with all these advertisements, as far as I'm concerned. Now there's a military ad. It's just so many advertisements. No thanks. I'll definitely stick to YouTube. I'm gonna finish this out because I started it, and I owe it to you guys to finish this stream. But Mike, it's way too long and dragged out. Like for anything good I've seen, the commercials and the length in between matches is just driving me nuts here. This tribal chief story, I don't think will ever be finished. It's going to go on with The Rock. How did I like Hacksaw Jim Duggan turning Canadian? That was one of the worst periods of booking in WCW, but it was still better than current AEW. And my God, does Dave Meltzer ever stick up for AEW a lot? It's getting to the point where it's almost nauseating at times. His love of AEW. I'd rather watch Raw and SmackDown from the early 2000s than now. I mean, this is not making me. As I said, it's nice. The Cena thing was boring. The Rock, although it was cool to see him overall, he didn't do much of anything. The girls' match was good. So far, that's by far the best thing. The Roman Reigns match, there was too much interference. And now it's just more advertising. It's far too much advertising. It's just one ad after another after another. I have Sirius XM for my radio. I have YouTube Premium and I have Netflix because I don't like ads. And I'm just being bombarded with advertisements. I'm bored. Remember that old song from wrestling? Boring, boring, boring. Remember that Lance Storm's gimmick? Boring. I'm just bored out of my mind. I don't know about the wokeness of wrestling. I don't really follow it close enough. But I definitely think that there's too much political correctness overall in wrestling. More shots of the audience. How boring would this be to be there live, to just sit there for so long in between? Braun Breaker in the crowd. Tiffany Stratton in the crowd. New women's champion, one of the brands. One of the Bellas is there. WWE Hall of Famer Nikki Bella, who got in there before Sid because John Laurinaitis married her mom. Oh, here's Hulk Hogan. This is what we've all been waiting for. Don Morocco. Yeah, I just interviewed him. Here's Hulk Hogan limping his way out. He really should have a cane because I'm feeling bad for his limp right now. There was two mysterious guys in the tunnel. Now, are we going to see some type of the thing about the old Legends appearance? We haven't seen them in any real angles yet. We're going to see some action here, or is it just going to be another speech? He's getting a good reaction, wearing his real American beer shirt. Jimmy Hart's in his 80s and still going. brother, which he took from Billy Graham, which we were talking about Billy earlier. Supposedly, according to Hogan on Logan Paul, he had recently signed a new 5-year contract around that time. Tony Khan probably should have tried to scoop up Hogan at one point, but he said he would never hire Hogan. Sounds like there's some booze, doesn't there? Bring out an. Let's see someone lay him at. This in the end is just a promo to put over Netflix again. Instead of just nauseatingly putting Netflix over, why don't you do something to make us want to watch the show? Do something interesting on the show to make us want to watch. Well, we saw Hulk Hogan. He's posing now. He still looks good. He still looks good. Jimmy Hart waving the flag behind him like a robot. Hogan. I guess the crowd got him going because he limped to the back a lot less than he limped. He looked in serious pain when he was walking out, but walking back he wasn't limping. Well, you know why I like the Hogan promo better than Cena? Because it was short and sweet. John, because Hogan's not in Cornwall, Ontario, where they would cheer Hogan like there's no tomorrow. When this is pro wrestling, you know your culture is in big trouble, yes. It's not the. Wrestling now is a lot different than it used to be. Tom, I think they already have a lot of hot girls under their roster. Will they do more? Oh, here's Stephanie McMahon in the crowd. With a weird smile on her face, squinting in a weird way. While Conrad's working with AEW, he was recently part of their whatever it was, their press conference at the stadium in Texas, where they're doing all in, where they haven't even sold 10,000 tickets yet to a 40,000 person stadium. Would they boo Vince? I don't know. I think Vince would get a mixed bag. I think at this point, and I'm not. Vince has his good and his bad side, but I think at this point people are starting to miss Vince. He's such a character in the wrestling business. And it's clear at this point he's not getting any criminal charges against him. Seth Rollins in the ring. I can honestly tell you guys I'm burnt out. I'm burnt out. It's 9:35. I've had enough. 2 hours and 35 minutes. I have had enough. Jose, I've listened to all of Bischoff's stories by now. I've been listening to Bischoff tell his stories since podcasts started. Now it's another ad, guys. But to answer your question about Bischoff, I mean, I've just heard his stories so many times. I still listen to him here and there. I like Eric Bischoff. I don't know if he knows that or not, because some people have said non-positive things about him on this channel. I know Hulk Hogan doesn't like me for that, but I'm neutral to Hogan. I still find him entertaining. He's done some good stuff and some bad stuff. Bischoff, I would use as an advisor if I ever ran my own wrestling company, someone funded me, I would use both Bischoff and Russo as advisors because I think they both have good ideas. But Russo's ideas have to be have to be filtered. And I would have also used Kevin Sullivan, but he's gone. But Kevin Sullivan's a good guy. He was a good guy for ideas. Greg Gagne lies a lot. Pretty much everyone in wrestling lies. We're all workers. I can tell you I'm one of the few honest ones. You guys could take that for what you want after I just say we're all liars. Hillbilly Jim is one of the I'll tell you the ones I think are more honest. Myself, Hillbilly Jim. Greg Valentine, I don't think lies. To be honest, I think he tells the truth in the shoot interviews I've done with him. Hacksaw Jim Duggan tells the truth. Um, Davey Boy Smith Jr. I say tells the truth overall. There's a lot to tell the truth, but we're all workers too. Russo was not the greatest era of WCW, but the whole end there was just way too much. It was not being run well on any levels. But Russo did book TNA at its highest period, its highest entertainment period, and he has good ideas. He booked WWE when Raw was getting its highest ratings ever. So I think when he has absolute full control, it can sometimes go overboard. But I do believe I would definitely want him as an ideas man. Or for instance, for this, you see, we're just watching ads right now. Still, he would come up for more interesting things to do between matches. Like nothing interesting has happened between matches. He'd have like interesting stuff happening rather than just, hey, let's show wrestlers sitting in the crowd, or let's show wrestlers sitting in a box watching like we've been watching tonight. I think Vince Russo would do more stuff to keep our attention. Cornette has failed as a booker. Like, when has he ever been a good booker? His company failed. He has too much of a temper to get along with people. To me, he's a great worker, Cornette. As far as he's able to work people into thinking he's such a great booker, but he never lasted anywhere booking because his temper is too bad. And he was on the booking team when they had the Goon, TL Hopper, Alex Porto, Who, all these crappy angles going. He brought back the new Midnight Express and that horrible NWA angle. Tom, we'd all be dead if we did that. But I don't. Here's the drones again. You see, here's the thing. I'd rather watch rather than a drone show of writing and just showing pictures of wrestlers in the crowd, actual like segments of something cool or exciting happen. Like now again, they're just showing the crowd. How much have we had to just see shots of the crowd tonight? I'm bored out of my mind. If it wasn't for you guys, I would be clicking off right now. And like, there's a wrestler in the ring, and all they're doing is showing the crowd. Why can't we get on with the match here? Again, like, I'm bored out of my freaking mind, and I'm sorry for saying this, but it's just I don't like how they drag stuff out so much. Where's the WWE UFO drone? They've been using drones this whole show outside. LA is a huge wrestling town, Tom. Huge wrestling town. I've wrestled there twice, and the houses were packed both times, like jam packed, and extremely loud crowd. And this house is packed. I mean, of course, every crowd's going to be different, but I would say LA overall is a big wrestling town. Very passionate fans. It's one of my favorite cities. I know it's got its downside, but I really like LA overall. Well, Punk is not going to get the reaction in LA as he will in Chicago now. George says Triple H bleeding a try. I mean, as far as creating an exciting show, to me, the gaps in this show are just too wide. This is too much of a slow paced show. Very fancy graphics, great camera work, tremendous light show. But as far as actual content, it's too dragged out. These long, boring entrances. All right, the bells rang. Let's get on with it. Let's hope that it's not actually 3.5 hours. Any predictions on who's going to win for those that are still watching? I'll be honest, Tom. They did not catch me at all with this. I actually feel look at all the empty there's a lot of people not sitting in these seats. The red seats. I guess these must be celebrities that have left, but they should watch out with their shots. Obviously, the people that paid for tickets are staying, but there seems to be maybe some celebrity tickets that have just left. Oh my God! Why? Like at some point, honestly, they've used. There's only been what 4 matches, and they've used this table 3 out of 4 matches. Who is allowing this table to be used every match? Tom Punk and I would actually be good opponents for each other. But I think they've overdone this table on this show. The table has been incorporated into too many matches this show. But yeah, Tom Punk and I would have a really good match. He's putting out a good effort in this. I'll already put it above the McIntyre match. And I'll actually put it above the Roman Reigns match because the Roman Reigns match was too slow starting for me. I like that these guys. The McIntyre match started faster, but was kind of a slow paced match overall. Too much leg slapping. This one's started at a good pace and is keeping up a good pace. Is this no DQ? You can only assume so. My only critique of this match is why have they allowed the table to be used in every single match? Mix it up a bit. Tom thinks CM Punk's got this one. Becky Lynch, speaking of Becky Lynch, she's she's one person. If I was Tony Khan, I would dump about 50 of these deadweight AEW talent and sign her. She's a name that would be worth picking up. The Ragu Overlord says they boo Hogan as Netflix Raw is in a blue state. Well, I might be more red than blue, but I don't hold anything against blue states like California, and I was just in Hawaii and had a great time in Hawaii. So I'm not really that political, even though I seem to have interviewed a bunch of Republicans lately. I don't think Biden is doing a good job in his end. I'm actually really looking forward to Donald Trump taking over, particularly to see if he's going to disclose UAPs in the first 3 to 5 months, like people are saying, because as everyone knows, I'm a big UFO guy. Got a bunch of good UFO interviews coming up this week. So far, I would say this is the best. This might even overtake. I like the girls' match the most, and I think no matter what, I'll like it for the attractiveness of them. But this match has the most best action, better than the girls' match. But there's an ad going on right now. We're sitting through yet another ad. This one is for Den of Thieves 2. Tom, there's a lot of people that lie in wrestling, but let's not get into politics. I'm Canadian after all. There's a lot that we could say about Canadian politics. I will say I couldn't get through more than 2 minutes of Trudeau's speech today. I tried to watch it while I was doing cardio. And you know it's bad when we're trying to watch a main event of Raw and we're talking about Justin Trudeau because it's an ad on Netflix that's supposed to be ad free. And there's been a lot of food ads that are making me freaking hungry. And since I'm doing this with you, I've gone quite a bit of time without eating, which I guess is good for my diet. Canadian people are, I would say, Tom, actually, people are overall nicer in the US. There's some places in Canada where they are nice. There's an unspoken feud with French and Canadian people and French and English people in Canada, where I guess it might go both ways. And I love French people. Obviously, I was married to one, but there's a lot of there's a bit of a feud there where a lot of French people are going to be rude to English people and vice versa. I can honestly say Texas and Kansas are two of the friend, and even Hawaii. These are far friendlier places in Canada. Although I'm sure there's places in Texas where they're less friendly, but Kansas is one of the friendliest states I've ever been in, and Hawaii, where I just was, they truly treated me like gold there. They truly treated me like gold. They went over and above. And here though, people will say hi to you. Like when I walk to one of the gyms I go to here, people will say hi to you. In Canada, they'll often look down when you walk by them. Quebec, there's still a lot of people in Quebec that want it to be their own country, but you'll often get ripped off by French men in Canada. It happened when I brought TNA there for the first time. But yeah, there's a feud. It's definitely a feud. Just look at how the Rouge, and I've liked the Rougeos, but just look at they didn't always get along with the English people behind the scenes. Translated to wrestling in some ways for them. And I know Jacques has worked for some French promoters, but even though I was trained by him and I wrestled for him, he never wrestled for Great North Wrestling. I don't know if that has to do with French and English or what, but there's definitely a French and English thing that happens in Canada. Marie's, yes, Renee Dupree was with Marie's, and she's now with the Miz. Miz got his seconds. Sylvain Grenier, I've seen him with some good-looking girls too. Carl Willett is one of the nicest French people I've met. By the way, PCO. At 57, he's still wrestling. He's had his ups and downs with Shock over the years too. They're putting out a good effort in this match. Who's the greatest wrestling actor? Terry Funk. Terry Funk. But out of Cena, Batista, and The Rock, The Rock. By the way, Batista apparently, according to the Great Khali, had sex with pretty much every girl in the WWE during his time there. And none of them have really denied it. None of them really denied that report. And Great Khali is one guy that's not known to be a liar. I think wrestling has just become too corporate. I think that's been the downfall. Pretty much from the time WWE went public, it changed. It's more about money now, which is good in some ways for the lucky few that get the big money. But as entertainment, it's not what it used to be for a lot of us that liked the old days. I wonder if Seth got Jinder Mahal fired after he got injured in that match with Jinder Mahal, who, by the way, hasn't done much since his release. Wasn't doing much before his release either, but I was wondering if that was what put it over the edge. He was one of the lucky ones that had many, many years of high pay for not really being over. The most over he was when they went to India and Triple H beat him for whatever reason. All right, we're getting towards the 3 hour mark, and I've truly can say I've had enough. I respect the effort that these guys are putting in. I'll give it the second best match of the 4 matches on the show. There's been 4 matches in 3 hours. A lot of advertising, a lot of crowd shots. Couple long promos. I think they're going to make a mistake if this is really going to go. If this is really going to go 20 minutes over to 11:30, I think they're really making a mistake doing that. They should have just condensed the show because a lot of people at this point, it's a weeknight. People are getting tired. You gotta use the table. You gotta use the table. The theme of tonight is we gotta use the table in every match. At one point, we've seen the tables so much tonight that it doesn't even matter anymore. Right, 9:58. We got 2 minutes to hopefully put this one to bed. The interesting thing is, I think at one point they were going to make SmackDown 3 hours too. It's like to sit yourself through this twice a week. I don't know why anyone would do that. It's just too much. Then you got all the other wrestling out there. I think YouTube is definitely the future of wrestling. People just watching clips. Oh, let's wrap this one up, boys. I've never been a fan of this slapping without protecting yourself. Why would you let anyone just punch you in the face? It was better when WWE only used chairs and tables once in a while. It kills it when you use them every week and have pay-per-views based on it. Not to mention every match. Every match tonight they've used that table other than in one. Like it's I don't know who organized it, but we've seen the table too many times. Who chops the hardest? Haku. Haku is the hardest chop I've ever taken. And other than Haku, I'll say I do. I'll put myself over. We're hearing the "This is awesome" chant, which to me, I mean, good for the crowd if they think it is. To me, there's been nothing really that's. I mean, this has been the best from an action standpoint. The best match from an action standpoint. But it's like nothing spectacular. And not enough like build up to it to have me really invested into it. Was Wahoo was before my time, yeah. But yes, you're right. He may have had the hardest. I don't know if he had harder than Haku, but Billy Graham told me how hard Wahoo would chop. My God. Even ECW did not use chairs and tables. Literally, the only thing keeping me into this is you guys. Stevie, if you saw Cena's promo earlier, I mean, I like Cena, but seriously, that was a freaking boring promo. Okay, thank God. CM Punk won. I'm happy about that. I think he's more over than Seth. He deserves to win. And I'm going to cut it at that. I'm tapping out, guys. To me, that's the end of it. Thank you for getting me through it. The highlight of this to me was the girls' match. That was the most fun to watch. This was the best action match, Punk against Rollins. The Hogan appearance was lackluster. The Rock appearance, he got a great reaction, but he didn't do much. John Cena appearance was boring. Triple H putting himself over at the start is just too much for me. Thanks, Tom. Please give this a like. Have a great night. Love you.